Hi, I'm Carla Cannon, and this video is going to be an inside look and review into IEW's new program, Structure and Style for Students, Level B. If you would like more information about what package to get and where to start with IEW, or if you're wondering how their program works with their 9 units that the students move through, you can look down below in the description, and I have separate links to videos on that, or go ahead and subscribe as I have lots of new content about IEW coming out all the time. Also, if you look down below, I have this video broken up into sections. I'm going to give you the overall layout of the program, a peek into the teacher's manual, and then we'll jump into looking into the student pages and binder. I have some tips at the end on how to really get the most out of this program, but modify it to work well for your individual student and their personality, and then some final thoughts and tips at the very end. So if you go to IEW's website, you can click, there's a link in the description below to take you right to the product. You will see that they have this written for children in 6th through 8th grade. I think it's important to remember that IEW's programs are very advanced. So the youngest I would probably start this program with is a child in 7th grade. And keep in mind, as I take you through this program, that it would be perfectly acceptable if you think this is too much for your child to do level A instead. The skills are going to be similar, only here they're going to move at a faster pace, and the length of the articles and how much writing is required is much longer in this level compared to the level A. So it's just good to know that you could go either way and your child is still going to benefit and learn, but it's important to find the level that isn't going to be overwhelming for your child. This curriculum is set up in such a way that when you purchase it, you have 2 options. You can buy the kit. This is the basic kit here, and it comes with just the student manual, the teacher manual, and then I opted for the forever streaming option. You can also choose DVDs. So I love the streaming option personally. We have great internet and my children can use their iPads to watch the video portion of the lesson. So that works really well for us. If you don't have good internet or any, devices that you want your kids to use it on, maybe DVDs are better for you. So that is kind of the first decision you need to make. And then the videos are really what makes this program spectacular, because Andrew Pudewa comes into your home via video and teaches your child in a way that is encouraging, engaging, and just really gives them solid foundation of what they need to know. The program is divided into 24 weeks worth of lessons. So lesson 1 would be week 1 and so forth. And then each week you start on day 1, probably a Monday, with the DVD lesson. And those range in length anywhere from about 20 to 50 minutes. So they are not short. And so that would be day 1. You would watch part 1 of your video lesson, either via DVD or streaming. And then on day 2, there's a second video lesson that they watch. And then the rest of the week they have writing assignments. So that's how it's structured over the course of the 24 weeks. And right off the bat, I want to say that there is a lot of content here. This program could easily be spread over 2 years. And I'll talk more about that at the end of this video, where I talk about modifying this to make it work for you. The whole basis of IEW is their 9 structural units that I have a separate video on you can check out. So what happens in every level of the program, your child is going to move through either most or all, depending on their age, of those 9 units. So in this age group in level B, they do go through all the units. And so for each unit, you're spending between 3 or 4 weeks on. Each lesson or each week, the amount of writing, in addition to the DVD, the video portion of the lesson, the amount of writing goes quickly from the first 1 or 2 weeks, from 1 paragraph to around week 3. Your child will be expected to do 3 paragraphs if you stick onto that a lesson a week schedule, up to 5 paragraphs towards the middle of the program. So it does increase in the amount of writing that they're expected to do as you continue. This program is designed to be multi-purposed in that if your child is at the right age and level to jump into B, you do not have to have done the prior level A in order to do this. So if you have done earlier products, your child will still learn and benefit because this takes it to the next level in what they're expecting your child to do and the amount that they're doing, but it's designed for both review purposes and for new students. So if you're wondering, well, we didn't do A, or what should we do, or we've done some IEW before, is this a good fit for us? It is set up for either of those. I had questioned that myself because we've used IEW for years now, and I thought perhaps it would be too much of the same for my daughter who's in 8th grade, but it's not. There is tons of new instruction, new content, and so whether you are new to IEW or you've used it for many years like we have, you will benefit from this program. So regardless of what package you buy, all of them come with the student binder and then the teacher manual. And oh my goodness, I am such an organized type A person and I love it. It is well laid out. It is so user-friendly. So this is the spiral bound book is your teacher manual. And I'm just going to show you inside one lesson to give you an idea. So this is week 7, and the teacher pages mirror those of the student pages. So this page your child is also going to have in their student binder, and then for the parent, it has additional tips and information on each of the pages. The other thing that's really nice is that if you choose the package with the teacher parent training materials, the teaching writing with style and structure, it tells you right up here what part of that teacher parent training that you need to do. And the reason that's brilliant is because if you in the past purchased it, I think it was overwhelming for a lot of parents, but by having what to watch that goes along with your student's progress for the parent, it breaks it down into really manageable chunks. I'm talking anywhere from 20 minutes to about an hour per month of parent training if you go that route. So that information is up there, what you should do. And then they have this schedule that mirrors your student's binder. So you can look in there. And then what I really love, that's an excellent addition, is that it has the board notes. So in the DVD video lesson, you will have Mr. Pudua putting up notes on the board. So if your student gets stuck or you can't watch it with them and you want to see what they have been taught, it is all right there with you. So that is a really great resource for you as the parent. I think it's important to mention that this is set up in such a way that if you do the parent training, or if you choose not to go that route and you just want to watch the DVDs with your child, you are going to get a ton out of this program. You are going to learn as much, if not probably more, than your student. I guarantee it. I did it. I have a minor in English along with my education degree, and I learned so much from this program. But If that doesn't work for your lifestyle, you can really set this up to be an independent study for your child because of those video lessons. So I think you'll get the most out of it the more you're involved, but if you can't, you can still keep totally on top of what they're doing because of things like this in the teacher manual. So you have your board notes here, and then in the student binder, they have these really nice charts. So this is what they would get in the student binder. And then for you as the parent, they have all these extra notes. So even if you don't watch the videos or do the training for parents, you can see the key things that your child is supposed to be learning in that lesson and unit. So that is a really great resource for you as the parent. And then the other thing that I think is wonderful, oh, and they'll have, you know, the source texts that your child is doing. They'll have notes and things to keep in mind. So mirror from the student page, and then things, you know, for you to keep in mind as their parent or teacher. And then also at the very end of this, they will show you what your student needs to do as far as their checklist. So you can check that. That's the student checklist. So you can know what elements they're adding to their writing. And then at the very end, it has this lovely sheet for you. And it tells you what your child is supposed to organize in their binder. They will be directed to do that during the video lesson, and they'll have their different sheets and where they go. And then it also gives you their homework assignments and just a really nice, quick at-a-glance thing so you can help your child stay on top of things, keep their papers where they need to be, and know what it is that they're supposed to be working on after they've done their video lesson. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the student binder, which comes in all the packages. So the paper is just to be put at the very back of the binder, and then you have all these different tabs that Mr. Pudawa will take your student through in the video lessons, and they'll just pull out what they need and then file it appropriately as they go through the lessons. As I already mentioned, this is very user-friendly and well laid out. It's a huge improvement from IEW's older materials, so that's a wonderful change. So each lesson, which corresponds to a week, although as you'll see, I personally would spread lots of these out longer than a week, but each week starts off in their binder with this day at a glance page. And so this is really nice because it breaks it down over either 4 or 5 days. It tells them what DVD video portion they need to watch, and then what assignments they need to complete each day to go along with it. So you have this whole week at a glance right here. Weeks 1 to 3 are covering units 1 and 2, which are the foundation of IEW, where your child learns to read and information from a source text. And then they make what is called their keyword outline. They take notes from that, and then their keyword outline is what they actually write from. So weeks 1 to 3, they're only required 1 paragraph per week of about 8 sentences, and that's what they're learning in those weeks. In addition to learning how to read for information and then make an outline and then write from that, throughout the program, your child is going to be learning how to do what IEW calls their dress-ups, which is basically making your writing and sentences more interesting. They're going to learn to write with a variety of sentence patterns, which is huge to interesting writing. So they'll learn that, as well as they're going to learn something called decorations, and those are things like alliteration and other interesting elements that you can add to your writing. So that starts off step by step, whether you've done the program or not. They're reintroduced, and each week or two they'll be learning more of those as you go throughout the program. Also, each time that you hit a new unit, your child will get a chart, which is nice, that just kind of summarizes and helps build the structure for that unit. So this is an example of one of those that I had also shown you are in the teacher's manual with more information for the parent on those. So these are nice for them to have. And then also every week, for every project, they have these composition checklists that are not only wonderful for the parent because it can help you make sure they're including everything that they need to in their writing, but it is also intended for the student to use before they write to make sure that as they're making their outline and beginning their writing, that they are including all the elements that they're supposed to in their writing. So it's a really great tool, and you could assign those points. That's an option, but preferably you can just say whether it's complete, that they have it in there, or it's incomplete, they missed that element. So those are the weekly composition checklists. In week 4 through 6, your child goes from writing 1 paragraph a week, jumping up to 3 paragraphs per lesson or in a week. They go into unit number 3, which is the story sequence chart, and it helps your student learn how to retell stories and then also how to do critical analysis later in unit 9. So that is what their new model of structure is, and you can see the suggested kind of schedule, week at a glance, daily breakdown there. And then you can also see that the source text gets longer a lot quicker in level B than it does in level A. So this is the source text for this week 5, and then they are going to recreate this story in 3 paragraphs. I just wanted to mention that sometimes in the story sequence chart, people can get a little bit stuck on that, especially if you have children who don't like story writing. So go to the end of the video. I have ideas how to make that work for you. But in weeks 7 through 9, we move into one of my favorite units, and that is unit 4. So in unit 4, your child is learning how to read for information that is much more than they are going to recreate, which is very useful, real world, because typically when you read about anything in this information era, there is tons of information. So in this unit, they learn how to take all this information and funnel it down into a keyword outline, picking what is the most interesting or most important, and then going ahead and writing from there. So you can take a peek here at the suggested schedule, the week at a glance there. And then this is the source text on Captain Cook. These source texts are written really well. They're interesting, and you can see compared to level A, they are a lot longer. So if your child has any reading struggles and would struggle to read this, this is not the level for them. They need to be beyond confident with their reading and comprehension before they can jump into B. If there is any challenges in that area, you are going to be much better suited to the level A, where the source texts are not as long. So this is the source text for that, and then a peek into the week 5 checklist. You can see what types of things that they are supposed to be adding into their writing. In weeks 10 to 12, they are back to using the story sequence chart, but instead of having a source text to write from, now they're going to use that same structure and format to write a story, but this time they do it using pictures. So this is the Unit 5 model. And once again, it's 3 paragraphs a week to go along with the lesson. Here is the suggested daily breakdown. And you can see, it's increasing. This is not a light program. So that's that. And then to get an idea of what that actually looks like, this is what they use to base their story off of. So they look at those pictures, they make their keyword outline using the story sequence chart, and then they write from there. In weeks 13 through 16, your child moves into Unit 6, which is summarizing multiple sources. And this is where IEW really shines because of its real-world application, in that your child can read from multiple sources, including, articles, books, maybe a video they watch on something. And how do you take all that information and assimilate that into a paragraph or a report? And so this, if your child can do this, they are so well set up for high school, for university. So I love this unit. It's a little tricky, but once they get the hang of it, it is so valuable. So here is the model for that. So they would read 3 different sources. They make a smaller keyword outline version there, and then they learn how to fuse all of that into one keyword outline, which is what they use to actually write from. So that's the model. And here is, it's on Amelia Earhart. Here is the weekly breakdown for that. And then I want to give you an idea of the length of the sources that they're breaking down, because it is not light. So they have source A is that long, and then it moves into source B, which is this page, and the back page of that. Source C is again 2 pages, and then source D. So a lot of information on one subject that they have to take and condense down into 3 paragraphs of their own. So that is Unit 6. In weeks 17 through 19, you will move into Unit 7, which is called Inventive Writing. And this is where your child has learned all these skills of taking, reading for information and making an outline. And now this is powerful because it teaches them, when they don't have a source text or something that they need to research or read from, it teaches them how to ask themselves questions and write something from their own mind without having that frozen blank page, don't know what to say. It gives them strategies to walk them through that. So it's really wonderful. The big change with Unit 7, in addition to not having the source text, is they're going from writing 3 paragraphs in a week to 5 paragraphs in a week. And you are going to likely find that 5 paragraphs in a week, in addition to the video lessons, is probably going to be too much for most students in that middle school age. So I would spread this one out. So in addition to learning, how to ask themselves questions from their own mind and make a plan and write, it introduces how to write an introduction and a conclusion, hence the 5 paragraph project. So there is your daily breakdown of this one. You can see how much they want them to do in a day on this schedule. And then there's also a sample written by Andrew Pudawa, a sample of this type of assignment. So, fairly lengthy amount here for that, but it's nice that they have that example. And then it really breaks down on this handout how to write a conclusion and how to write an introduction. And so that is really powerful in Unit 7. And then I do want to show you the checklist to give you an idea of what types of things they're expecting at this point in the program that your child is including in their writing. So they have it by paragraph there, gives you a little bit of an idea. Weeks 20 and 21 are spent on Unit 8, which is the formal essay model. So they take what they've learned about introductions, conclusions, lots of information, how to summarize that, and they put that into a 5-paragraph essay, which is well done. This one is on plastic in the ocean, and you can see what types of things they're working on there. And once again, very, very practical and useful for as your child goes into high school and then university. In weeks 22 through 24, your child will move into Unit 9, which is the formal critique. So you're thinking literary critique, and they do not do this in year 1 of level A. So unless it's in year 2, which hasn't been released, this will be the first time that they hit this Unit 9. And so it's taking that story sequence chart that they've learned and now adding the introduction, the conclusion, and learning how to critique another piece of writing. So as you can see, there is a lot to this program, but it is very well organized, very well laid out. The ease of use of it with what to do and when to do it and how it combines your student work with the teacher's manual is really well done. Go ahead and stick around and I will give you some suggestions on how to get the most out of the program and modify it for your individual student. As you can see, this is an in-depth writing program. This is not light. So how can you modify and use it and get the most out of it without overwhelming yourself and your student? I have a couple ideas. First of all, know that this is an advanced program. With my experience teaching in the classroom and working with many, many homeschooling families, the amount of writing that they're suggesting in a week is a ton. And a lot of kids would struggle to do that much in a week. So if you find yourself in that boat with your child, you are not alone and you are not failing if you cannot do their suggested daily schedule. You can use this program and get a ton out of it, but just tweak it to fit your child. Because if they're frustrated and upset, they are not going to be learning. So you need to find that point where it's challenging, but not so challenging they don't want to do it. So a couple ideas. Number 1, go ahead and just spread it out over 2 years. There is more than enough content here that you could do this easily as a 2-year program. So that's my first suggestion. Number 2, I had suggested in level A that you could be a scribe for your child. Have them write some and then dictate some to you, and you do some of the writing. With this age group of kids, they are going to be a little more insulted by that. So what I do often for my daughter, if she's hitting that point of overwhelm, but we still want to get the project done, is I will not write the paragraph for her. What we'll do is I will help her with her keyword outline. I'll sit down with her, either I'll help give her ideas and she'll write it down, or if we're just having a day, I'll even grab the pen and I will help get her ideas, so it's not all from me, but just write out that keyword outline for her so that when she goes to write it, she's got, some really solid starting points. And that has been a huge help for her in not getting overwhelmed. I don't do it all the time, so you just have to judge your child. If you see that they're reaching that point of it's too much, jump in, help them, support them, because you move through these units every year. So if they need more help the first time that they're doing a formal essay with 5 paragraphs, that's okay. The next time you do it, it'll be that much easier for them. So help them when they need it. It's okay. My tip number 3 to modify the program is that if you are really wanting to move through it in a full year, then you can just not do every assignment for every unit. You could see in the video that for each unit, there was anywhere from 2 to 4 different assignments for that unit. So what you could do if your child wants to do it all independently without a lot of input from you is have them watch the video lessons, but pick one assignment to go along with it. So they watch the video lesson and then they just work on that assignment and spread that writing out over a couple weeks, and they can continue to watch the video lessons for the other assignments, but just not do those assignments. So if you're wanting to get through it in that year, that could be another great option for you. Just remember that curriculum is a tool. You use it and modify it to make it work for your individual child and their needs and their style of learning. And if you have to tweak it like that, you are not failing. You are being a good parent and teacher to your child. So what are my overall thoughts on Level B structure and style for students? I think it's fabulous. Truly, it is worth every penny you're going to spend on it. If you think about the cost of having a private tutor come into your home and teach your child, this is a steal because that's what you're getting. You're getting Andrew Pudawa, who is wonderful in your home through these video lessons, teaching your child and you all these wonderful models of how to write. It gives it step-by-step instructions, which is something most writing programs miss. They'll throw out this general, write about your feelings or a childhood experience or some random topic, but they won't give your child the steps on how to complete this assignment. And this is where IEW shines and is unique because they break it down like no other program on the market. It is truly wonderful how they do it. And by giving your child these steps, it lays the foundation for any writing project that they're going to come across in high school, in university, in life, because they'll have steps. And I think this is probably the most powerful thing you can do with a middle school student is a program like this because of the foundation that it gives them. Being good communicators, both in speech and in writing, is one of the most important things that our children need to know. If anything they do, an email, a text, interview over the phone, if they can't communicate clearly and with confidence, it is going to be rough for them. So that's why I think it's worthwhile to put the time and money into a program like this. And then once they have these skills, you can tackle any writing project and they will have the background on how to approach it. So overall, I love everything about this. My biggest thing that I encourage you to do is just remember to make it work for you, whether that's slowing it down or whatever you need to do, make it work for your child. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you would like to help me out, you can do 2 things. Number 1, click on the links to this program below. It's an affiliate link and it lets IEW know that you went and looked at that product because of my video, and then it will encourage them to send me their new products as they release them so I can continue to do these video reviews and updates. So the second thing I would have you do is hit that subscribe button, as I will have more videos coming out and I would love to share those with you. Bye-bye.